Within myself is the glory, Murdo MacDonald-Bayne. And he had a name written on his vesture and on his thigh, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Revelation 19:16. As I have said before, it is the invisible electricity that gives power to the dynamo. Without this invisible power there can be no movement, no power. It is the same with us. Our bodies are like the dynamo. The invisible life is the power that makes it move. Not only does life make it move, but created it for its own self-expression. This is the life that never dies. This is the life that is eternal and which alone has consciousness. It is life that gives us self-consciousness. But when we are not aware of this truth, we seek the expansion of the self. Do we not seek to expand the self both spiritually and materially for our own benefit only? So we exploit and become the exploited. The paramount longing in the human heart is the desire for things, for spiritual security, unaware of that which produces all things and which is resident within us, so we develop a sense of inward poverty. To cover up this inward poverty, we surround ourselves with things, title and rank which we find never fills the vacuum. Thereby we develop a sense of insecurity, both spiritually and materially, so we try to buy a passport with as little as we can of our worldly goods, to some unknown destination from those who claim to know the way and have the sole right of admission. Thus, the exploiter becomes the exploited. Is it not so that we try to make ourselves secure at the expense of our brothers, and all we gain is sorrow and conflict? So we create the exploitation by which we are exploited from every side. It is only when the truth of the ever-present life, which is the creativeness within ourselves, is realized, that we begin to understand that the cause as well as the remedy is within ourselves also. This ever-present life is beyond all personal allegiances, yet it is the moving factor in the personal life. When we come to see this clearly, we will abandon the illusion of self with its past and future. We will see how magnificent we can become in the recognition of our oneness with this ever-present life, which unites us as one great family, not only on this earth but with all inhabitants in the vast cosmos. Within the one mind of the infinite, all does exist at the same time. Therefore all must be moving at the same time and in the same direction. Therefore we are not separate from the furthest star, but are all moving according to the cosmic plan of perfection. Even if we may think otherwise, it makes no difference. Therefore to cooperate with the divine mind is the fulfillment of the law. In fulfilling the law we naturally see that we must cooperate with each other in harmony with the whole, thus we inherit the qualities of the divine. When we take the broad and comprehensive view of the whole, we lose the pettiness of the self and what it stands for. Unless we do this, we are caught up in the narrowness of dogma, creed, selfishness, and possessiveness, etc., which causes misery for the individual and for the world in which we live. For are we not the world? We condition it and ourselves. The comprehensiveness of the whole, the cosmos, is beyond human conception. Nevertheless, it is a fact that we cannot be separated from the whole except in the illusion of the individual mind. All great people have become great by understanding that there can be no separation. It is only when we come to discern our own limited thinking and how it arises can we get the greater view beyond our immediate surroundings. Let us consider these interesting facts about the cosmos. We are told that there are something like 2,000 millions of worlds visible to us from the Earth, and that this is but a fraction of manifested universe. Many of these suns and worlds are thousands of times larger than ours. Our world on which we live is but a grain of sand in the panorama of worlds. Yet we are one with the whole. The same fundamental substance, the same mind, the same creative spirit is the creativeness within us. How can we then, after knowing this, become petty and selfish? Then let us lose ourselves in the cosmos so that the cosmos may manifest in us. This was the realization Jesus had when he said, "All power is given to me in heaven and on earth." He knew that there could be no separation between himself and the Father. Spiritual science has also revealed to us that there are belts of invisible matter inhabited by spiritual beings who were once physical beings like ourselves. Although we are, most of us, incapable of seeing these inhabitants, they are not oblivious to our existence, for many are helping and guiding us even while we are not aware of it. This was revealed when Jesus went up the mountain to pray, and there Moses and Elijah appeared to him and his disciples. To get a true understanding of what is, we must get beyond narrow bigoted dogmas and creeds, ethics, and the limited thought of the human mind. Some will say, where is your data to explain all this? There is ample proof given by those who have experienced at least a modicum of its truth to make it evident that there is more in heaven and on earth than man has ever dreamt of. Scientists have told us that they are only groping in the dust, but as we progress, the science of the cosmos will reveal things that man has at present only merely thought of. There are far-reaching powers inherent in the human mind that will reveal to us that the hopes and desires of the inhabitants of the inner worlds are mainly on our behalf. At present, the law of gravity, which unites all the worlds in the universe in one grand system, separates man from his kindred spirit in other planets. Man will one day overcome this so-called impossible barrier to make excursions to distant regions to find things out for himself. There is a saying that man cannot think of anything that is impossible, and when we look back we find that we have thought of things, and at the time we thought them impossible, but this saying has proved to be true. They have become possible, and we are now experiencing them, yet we no longer give them a thought, only accepting the impossible as an accomplished fact. I am giving you a vista beyond that in which the human mind is generally caught up. Then the mind will not remain stagnant in its own circumscribed orbit, but can rise above its present limited beliefs and inane thinking. Are our thoughts not mainly built up from the created, blinding us to the creativeness that is within and which is behind all the created, the means whereby that which is known within itself will be made known to the individual, when the individual is capable of true understanding? Man's understanding is still in its infancy, yet through the realization of our eternal existence our faculties will expand. A few have expanded these faculties, but these few have been regarded by the masses with awe and often put to death for fear that the pet theories and religious beliefs of the blind who lead the blind would be shattered. Yet those who acclaim Barabbas and put Jesus to death could not destroy that which they could not see nor understand. Nor could they dim the light that came into the world in the beginning and is now beginning to shine brighter in the darkness of the human mind. In our darkest hour we will see that light, for we will no longer seek the darkness that has brought ruin into the human family through separation and distrust, through the misery of mass murder. We will realize that it is the same life, the same consciousness that makes us aware, the same birthless and deathless spirit unfolding the beauty of the human soul as well as the beauty of the universe in which we live and in which we can never be separated from the whole. My words are incapable of explaining this mighty truth, yet the truth can be found within ourselves when the noise of the outer is quietened down. The infinite has revealed himself in us, and with this understanding we can reveal the infinite. Was it not this that Jesus showed when he said, in other words, "When you have seen me you have seen the Father, and the deeds you see me do are the deeds of the Father whoever remains within me"? Could there be plainer words than these to reveal the truth? When we begin to think clearly we will see that the whole universe must be within the consciousness of the infinite supreme architect, and it must be the same consciousness that makes us living, thinking beings made in his image and likeness. Man has lost the power to think for himself. He accepts what the blind say, and they never saw because they were blind from the beginning, being caught up in differing creeds and beliefs which separate man from man and man from God through ignorance. Although man cannot be separated from God, yet in his ignorance man has assumed this separation, and what man thinks so is he. Oh, could I wing my way with the swiftness of a seraph, one of the highest of angels, with love as a cherubim and with knowledge from sun to sun and from world to world, until I have surveyed all the systems visible to the naked eye, and at the same time gather within myself the glorious landscapes and scenes of grandeur they exhibit, and could mingle with the pure and exalted intelligences who people these resplendent abodes, and behold the humble and ardent adoration of the Almighty, their benign and understanding deportment towards one another, each esteeming the other better than himself, and all united in the bonds of the purest affection, without one haughty or discordant feeling. What indignation and astonishment would seize me on my return to this obscure corner of creation! Yet within myself is this grandeur, the consciousness of the infinite himself. To know this in our hearts is to live it. Can we comprehend the magnificence of this mighty truth, that the consciousness of the infinite whole is within? He who overcomes shall inherit these things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. Revelation 21:7, Eastern Text. Benediction. O beloved, within my consciousness I can scan my eternal home, and thou art my eternal joy. I found that all my errors dissolved away when thy love and wisdom became my staff. I no longer need to probe my way in the darkness, for thou art my eternal light. Yes, I was beaten by the winds of fate and drenched with the rain of misery while I wandered in the darkness of my mind. But now the storms have abated, the rocks have disappeared from my path, and I no longer stumble, for I have thy staff of love and wisdom. I have seen thee in my brother, O beloved. Yours very sincerely, Murdo MacDonald-Bayne.